Police informed me that they have discovered over 20 cameras in my apartment. I only found one. And the worst part? I was asleep one night. I was covered up and someone took the tape off. I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Born there, made there. The sort of place where you come to know people by what they do every day, which is who goes to open his shop early, who walks his dog at half past the same time in the evening, who waves his hand, and who does not. Halifax is silent in a manner which makes one feel secure, familiar, predictable. That is why when I got a job in a larger city last fall, I thought that I was ready to start afresh. At home, I worked in IT support at a small insurance office, repairing computers, changing passwords, assisting individuals who clicked on the wrong link and were too scared. It was steady, boring, and safe. I am currently a teleworking customer security team employee, which is a job that has me spending my working days on account break-ins, fraud cases, and weird activity tickets. I do all my work based on patterns: what is normal, what is abnormal, what does not belong. That is why I hate to confess it. When it began to happen to me, I made some attempts to explain it away. One of the nights, a Tuesday towards the end of October, I moved into Unit B, a basement studio. Rent was affordable to allow me to breathe. The listing photos were of low quality, yet it was tidy, near the transportation, and was ready instantly. I needed something fast. I accepted and did not ask too many questions. My landlord was called Howard. 60-something, tall but thin. His hair was gray and cut short like he preferred it to be. His handshake was strong when he opened the front door of the converted old house to me. His eyes were too focused, as though he were not staring at my face but attempting to chronicle the figure of my life. "Welcome," he said. "You'll like it here. It's peaceful." Then he gave me a sheet of building rules, put it on a piece of paper with a laminate on it. No guests after 9 p.m. No loud music, no candles, no drilling or hanging of heavy frames. Always leave the bathroom fan off at night. Notify about any structural concerns. "Structural concerns?" I asked. Howard smiled. "Old house. You'd be surprised." The room was neat but stuffy, low ceiling, but only one small window opening near the floor, carpet that might have been new but which was cheap to walk on. Even in daylight it was dim. It smelled of bleach a bit and metal, something covered by it. "Old pipes," Howard said in a nonchalant way. "The upstairs units are mine. So just call me should you have any need." During the initial week, there was nothing that occurred. I unloaded, began to train to my new job, made habits. I continued to consider Halifax, how much my parents would have detested the thought of my staying in a basement, how my mother would have inspected the lockups twice and inquired of me whether I had seen the neighbors. Then the timing started. Howard was around every morning as I went to work, in some cases checking the trash, occasionally in the hallway seeking a delivery, occasionally in the laundry room as would have just made a load. And as I always came home there, he was again, too perfectly placed too often to be accidental. I used to refer to it as coincidence. Then I began to see the trend. He wasn't inappropriate, not technically. He would make small talk, inquire about how things were going at the workplace, comment on the building, the weather, the city, and then he began to know things. "Hope your headache is all right," said he one morning. I froze. I had not informed him that I had a headache. I had sent my friend in Halifax about it, that was all. And the next day he remarked, "That was a nasty call in the morning." I had placed a hard work call in my room with the door shut and spoke in a low voice. I said to myself, old house, thin walls. I said to myself, I am stressed, I am new here, I am creating noises into patterns. I told myself, he's just nosy. That was so, until the time I discovered the hole one night. It was close to midnight. I was lying in bed with my phone, lamp on the nightstand. The lamp lighted the ceiling at an angle the lamp did not normally illuminate, and there was something in one corner over my closet reflected the light, a spot of blackness. I woke up, stood on my bed, and shone my phone flashlight on my bed. The light reflected back, not like paint, like glass. My stomach dropped. There was a lens inside it. There was a lens in my ceiling, and that looked into my bed. I stood there a long time breathing, my hands chilled. Then I took a black electrical tape out of my desk drawer and stuck it on the hole. Flat, no gaps. I didn't sleep. Every step was creaking up the stairs. Each movement of pipes was like a step. The tape was gone. I went to the end of the road and gazed. The hole was also there, of the same size, exactly where, but the paint around it was fresh, well feathered, and perfectly matched. It was done by somebody who knew how to do it. And the worst part? I hadn't heard anyone come in. Someone I was sleeping 6 feet away means something to get that tape off and repaint the ceiling. I didn't confront Howard. I didn't storm upstairs. I didn't threaten him. Since my occupation had taught me something easy, when a person is this confident, he or she has been practicing it longer than you believe. I had purchased a mini Wi-Fi camera on my way to work, the type that people use to examine pets. I stored it on my bookshelf, tilted towards the corner of the ceiling between piled books. The camera app was open in my car at lunch. A clip had already been saved. Timestamp, 10:42 a.m. My bedroom door was opened slowly. With a key, Howard entered. He went straight to the corner out of taking a glance at all, as though acquainted with the room. He scraped off the wall, my tape, picked up as though he were myself on my bed, adjusted the paint he had chipped off, took a couple of minutes, and stopped and stuffed it all into place again. Then he stopped, turned toward my bed, and stood at the bottom of it gazing. Not moving, not touching. I was simply standing there, and the timestamp was increasing. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3. He did not appear till half a minute later. When gently shutting the door, he seemed to be leaving a sleeping person. I was shivering, watching the video, and knew two things simultaneously. I needed police, and I still did not have enough of them. I stood in my basement window that night, and I could see Howard driving away. When the street became quiet, I took the extra key he had given me on the first day of move-in and inserted it into his lock in the upstairs. It turned. His apartment was bare and chilly. No photos, no warmth. Furniture was so staged, so clinical, as in a room no one stayed in. On the far end of the corridor was an internal door, padlocked from the outside. I returned to the storage closet and took bolt cutters, then went back down the stairs and cut it. The lock was as sharp a jolt as stopping my heart. I opened the door. Within it was a folding table on which several monitors displayed live feeds. The entrance, washing machine, parking lot, the hallway outside my door, my bedroom, my bed, angles I could not describe. The walls had printed photographs and documents on them, which were separated into neat squares with strips of blue painter tape. 6 sections, 6 names. There were 4 of them, who had huge red diagonal lines on them. My section was turned towards the door, the latest and most visited. Pictures of me on my way to work, pictures out of my basement window, text concerning my habits. The photo of me in bed, in the middle of the center, pinned at the eye level, was taken in the dark. The distance was so close that one could hear me breathing. At the very bottom of my section, a black marker was a date, November 3rd, 3 days away. I did not recall getting out of the apartment. I recall standing on the other side of the street talking on the phone, with weak knees and calling 911 and uttering these words aloud before I could lose control. Hidden cameras, locked room, files, the date on the wall. Police arrived fast. They moved with purpose. They told me to stay outside. At 10:51 p.m., the car of Howard entered the street. He did not appear shocked when he noticed police lights inside. He looked annoyed, as though somebody had come in between his schedule. He tried to run. They set to his knees in front of the sidewalk. Howard, a detective informed me later, is not his name. This is an identity that gets built up. Then she said, "We had discovered over 20 cameras in your unit." I asked about the date. Saying they were investigating, she said. She never said what it meant. I moved out the next morning. I am not residing in a basement anymore. I do not reside in any place where I lack the ability to regulate the exits. And I hate this most of all. I look at my own camera footage every morning before going about my business. There are times when the worst horror is not the visage of it all. It's what you almost didn't. And I still remember that date at the wall, November 3rd, as though my life was written in a calendar,
It's
like
that
an
day
appointment,
again. The
like
one
a
I knew was
plan.
coming. No avoiding it now. It's inevitable. I have to face it, whatever comes. It all ends here.
Caleb Morgan never thought a message could follow him into adulthood, but in the quiet harbor town of Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, one notification reopened a door that should have stayed locked forever. 2 years ago, when Caleb was 17, he was finishing high school and working evenings at a small bookstore near the Lunenburg waterfront. His life was simple, predictable, safe. Painted houses lined the narrow streets, fishing boats rocked against the docks, and fog rolled in almost every night like a soft gray curtain. Nothing truly bad ever happened there. At least that is what people like to believe. One night around 7:45 p.m., Caleb was in his bedroom under the slanted ceiling, scrolling through Facebook. A message request popped up from someone named Adrian Cole. The profile showed a young man about his age. They had mutual friends from town. The message read, "Hey, long time no see." Caleb stared at it. He typed back, "Sorry, do I know you?" The reply came fast. "You really do not remember me." Caleb felt confused. He did not respond right away. Another message followed. "Wow, that hurts. We used to be close." Then Adrian sent a photo. It was old and blurry. 2 small boys in a backyard with a swing set. One of them was clearly Caleb at about 3 years old. The other looked 5 or 6. Caleb felt something shift inside him. Adrian wrote, "We were neighbors in Lunenburg. I moved away, but not that long ago." That was not true. The family next door had left more than a decade earlier. Still, Caleb apologized and they began talking. The conversation felt normal at first. School, jobs, memories. Adrian seemed friendly. Maybe too friendly. Around 10:30 p.m., Caleb told him he was tired and had school in the morning. He closed his laptop and went to sleep. At 6:20 a.m., he woke up and checked his phone. His stomach dropped. There were nearly 50 messages. "Good night. Sweet dreams. Are you asleep yet? Message me when you wake up." The tone had changed. It felt intense, possessive. Caleb did not answer. By lunchtime, more messages had arrived. "You still live on Pelham Street. Does your mom still worry about who you hang out with? I should take you out when I come back." Caleb's heart began to pound. He had not told Adrian where he lived. He had not mentioned his family. Over the next week, the messages did not stop. 50 a day. Questions about his house, about his older brother Noah, about the backyard maple tree. Adrian asked about rooms inside the house as if he could see them. Caleb stopped replying completely, but he did not block him. Part of him thought it was just attention, maybe harmless, maybe lonely. Then one evening at 5:10 p.m., while helping his mother cook, Caleb casually asked if she remembered the Cole family who used to live next door. Her face went pale instantly. "Why are you asking?" Caleb said Adrian had messaged him online and wanted to catch up. His mother put down the spoon and told him to block Adrian immediately. Then she told him something he had never known. When Caleb was 3, he used to play at the Cole house. Adrian's mother babysat sometimes. One afternoon, Caleb came home and said Adrian brushed his hair. His mother thought that was odd. A 6-year-old boy brushing a toddler's hair. After asking questions, she learned it was not just hair. Adrian had been running a brush over Caleb's body while he was only in underwear. Nothing worse had happened, but it was enough. When Caleb's mother confronted Adrian's parents, a screaming fight broke out. It came out that Adrian had done worse to his younger sister. Police were contacted. Child services were called. Before anything could move forward, the family disappeared from Lunenburg. Caleb felt cold all over. He blocked Adrian immediately. It did not end there. Adrian messaged Caleb's friends asking about him. He changed his relationship status to in a relationship with Caleb. He followed him on Instagram and somehow found his Snapchat. He liked almost every photo Caleb had ever posted. Then the pictures started coming. Explicit, unwanted. Caleb blocked every account. For months, nothing happened. Then one night at 2:17 a.m., Caleb woke suddenly. He heard something outside his window. Footsteps on gravel. He held his breath. The next morning, the town was buzzing. A ferry worker had found a car parked in a restricted harbor area before sunrise. The engine was still warm, but the driver was gone. No one claimed it. A week later, an elderly woman on Caleb Street told neighbors she was receiving letters from her husband who had died years ago. The handwriting looked real. The return address was blank. Another man bought a cheap house near the edge of town. Neighbors warned him that the last owners had left suddenly without explanation. He laughed. 3 weeks later, he moved out overnight. The town felt different. One evening at 8:30 p.m., walking home from the bookstore, Caleb felt eyes on him. Across the street, a dark car idled with its lights off. He could not see inside. The car drove away slowly. The next day, an envelope appeared under his front door. No stamp, no address, just his name. Inside was a photograph of him walking home from work 2 nights earlier. On the back were 4 words. "You still look small." Caleb's chest tightened. Police were called, but there were no fingerprints, no witnesses. That night at 1:12 a.m., his phone buzzed from an unknown number. "Blue looks good on you." He was wearing a blue jacket that day. He blocked the number. At 2:50 a.m., a few nights later, the motion light in the backyard turned on. Caleb looked through his window. A figure stood near the old maple tree, still watching. His brother ran outside with a bat. By the time he reached the yard, the figure was gone. Only footprints remained in the damp grass. Rain washed them away before police could collect anything. Then came the final message, 2:17 a.m. Again, you cannot block what remembers you. Caleb sat in the dark, staring at the glow of his phone while waves crashed softly against the Lunenburg shore. He never saw Adrian again. But sometimes, late at night, when fog rolls over the harbor and the streets go silent, Caleb still wakes up at exactly 2:17 a.m., certain that someone is standing outside his window, waiting.